Good evening everyone, and welcome to this evening's EasyJet flight taking you from Madeira to Faro. Now, following our wonderful flight here yesterday and all the stress that caused, we've gone for a nice easy route today. Nothing could be simpler about Faro, famous last words. It's also one of HD's favourite places to land because of how simple it is, but more about that during the flight. So we have a few of you on board that are flying alongside us in Vatsim. Great to see you. Who's next to us with the flashing beacon, rotating beacon lights on? That's nice and premature, unless that's just the way it's been rendered in the simulator. Okay, let's get on board. Welcome to everybody in the chat room. So here we are. I've already placed the METAR and the flight plan in the chat, so hopefully you can see that. How's the model matching doing? Let me just have a little look. Oh no, you're still all default. I still need to play with that model matching. I have been faffing around with it and do have it working, but some of you guys I don't have. Clearly it seems set up correctly. Yeah, who's got the flashing beacon on? Are your engines running? They should not be running yet. I shall tell you for why in a little while. Okay, so let's start getting set up, shall we? We've no air traffic control online at the moment, which is a bit sad, but never mind. Let's I'm going to turn the dome lights on. I always turn the dome lights on so the moment I turn on the batteries, everything doesn't suddenly go dark. There we go. Alright, so let's get some ground power from Madeira, shall we? Request that ground power.
Madeira ground Airbus Golf, Echo Zulu Golf Sierra, could you please send a ground power unit?
Airbus Golf, Echo Zulu Golf Sierra, ground power unit is on the road.
So here's our ground power unit. Let's get you all connected up. There we go. Also get the baggage as well.
Madeira ground Airbus Golf, Echo Zulu Golf Sierra, could you please send the baggage?
Airbus Golf, Echo Zulu Golf Sierra, baggage is on the way.
Let's get the ramp
Madeira
connected.
ground Airbus Golf, Echo Zulu Golf Sierra, could you please send
And
the
with
ramp?
that we can start to go through our flows. So we'll also start getting the passengers on board. Of course they will most likely be fighting with the door, but we've come to expect that now. Let's get those ideas aligned. Nav and logo lights are on. Seatbelt signs are on. Our no smoking signs are on, and our emergency exit light signs are armed. Let's get the white lights off up here as well. We can now do our fire test for engine 1. Beautiful. Engine test for fire 2. And our APU test. Guys, just seen you talking about the dev build. I know what I need to do. Excuse me 1 minute. I've downloaded the custom fly-by-wire version again, so I need to change my profile here to the custom fly-by-wire settings. Just apply and save that. The reason for that is the two are very different. Go check out my video on that if you want to see why. There we go. Let us carry on. Alright, passengers, let's start getting you on board. Start our flight with self-loading cargo, providing the passenger sounds this evening.
Cabin crew, we can open the doors now and start letting them on board. Thanks very much.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, so sorry, I'm just going through my my sets here. So that's the overhead panel set up. We can start the APU as well. 1, 2, 3, and we'll get that going. Okay guys, the questions that I've got coming in the chat at the moment, I will answer them, but if you could just hold off on the questions for now while I go through the setup, I promise I will answer every question fired at me during the cruise stage. But for now, let's just continue getting everything set up. I just don't want to miss anything while going through the flows, and it has actually in the past caused issues in the real world. Cabin crew coming in, disrupting flows, and I forget which aircraft it was, took off without any flaps because the pilots forgot. We do have ECAMs and things like that to remind us here in the Airbus, but that's not the point. Okay, check that, anti-skid and light, and the time is correct. Audio control panel is all set up, cockpit door is still open, thrust levers to idle, engine masters norm, engine masters off, sorry, engine mode selector to norm, parking brake is on, gravity gear, we can't do that, transponder, we're not going to get a transponder code from air traffic control tonight just because they're not on. Let's have a look at the glare shield then. So barrow references 1008, flight directors on, turn up the lights as well, we'll need those for an evening flight. Jake, the flight tonight should be around, I think it's 1 hour 30 minutes. 1 hour 30 minutes. Okay. With that, we'll carry on turning these panels up so we can see what we're doing. Brakes are hot, prefer chocks if available, and delay takeoff for cooling. Yeah, they're showing, oh right, this is where I could really use the brake fan working. So at the moment, let's have a look down here. See on the lower ECAM, the brakes are currently 640 degrees. For takeoff, ideally we want them to be less than 150 degrees, or less than 300 degrees. With brake fans on. Now brake fans don't actually work, so if we were doing this by the book we would have to delay takeoff and wait for those to cool down to about 150 degrees. We'll see how that works as we crack on. As we're not moving, realistically, just for the sim, we could release parking brakes and imagine that we've got chocks there. Let's see if that speeds up the rate that they cool down. Alright, so IRS alignment will be coming in a moment. So we've just cleared that warning message, as you saw there. 2 minutes. So let's come now to our flight management guidance setup. Sam C23 you've not seen before. I've seen it a couple of times. Am I parked on lava? Fair point. So I've seen it a couple of times, and it can happen in the real world if the aircraft has just landed and it's a turnaround stop. So, but no one's been using my new aircraft, have they? My special new aircraft with the lovely Easyjetsimpilot livery. Can you even see that? There we go. The Simpilot livery, my name, and oh, HD's been covered up by the door. How apt. Okay, so let's bring this in, shall we? Let's have a look at bringing our SimBrief flight plan in. Atsu, AOC menu, init press, and there we want to select the init data request. Let me just turn on my cursor. I've just realised you can't see what I'm clicking. Alright guys, hopefully you are back with me. Not quite sure what happened there. Signal disappeared, but we appear to be back. So, I'm also back on Vatsim. Everything went down then. Vatsim went, streaming software went, but I think we're back with you. Right, maybe that's why SimBrief wouldn't pull through. Let's continue where we left off. Just checking my SimBrief password is, not password, username isn't in there. It is, so, we wonder what happened there then. Alright, AOC, let's try that again, shall we? That's still not wanting to pull that in. I wonder if the simulator's not connected. How interesting. How interesting. Oh, hang on. There we go. That has pulled through. Madeira to Faro, 1 hour 22 minutes. Whew, thought we were going to have to do it the old-fashioned way then if the uplink wasn't working, but never mind, that appears to be working fine now. So, performance, weights and balance. Let's just check these against the operational flight plan that we have got. So, block fuel of 4685, that is correct. Let's get that loaded in. And we've got, what have we got tonight? We have got 144 passengers with a payload of 14976. 14976. That's all correct. Let's get that loaded in. Gross weight then for takeoff of 60.5 tons. Takeoff weight 60.4, so that's accurate. Very nice. Now we need to actually pop this into the flight computer, make sure all this works up. So we press the init request page on init A, and we need to pop the alternate in there, which tonight is Lima Echo Zulu Lima. Lima Echo Zulu Lima. There we go, and we can also change the flight number to my call sign, which is EZY34 Alpha Mike. There we go. Hopefully it's all still working for you guys now, if you've got that. Flight level 360 and temperature of -51 in the sim, -49 on the flight plan, so that's good enough. Let's just change the tropo altitude to 27928, so it matches 27928. There we go. Alright, let's now move down to our flight plan page. So the flight plan, if we set our departure, it is a runway 5 departure, and it is the Degan 3 November. Degan 3 November departure route. And then when we get to Faro, lovely straightforward arrival into Faro. It is the runway 28, and it'll be the runway 28 Zulu, correction. And it is the Gimel 6 Alpha. Gimel 6 Alpha. Via Gepti, that is correct. And insert. Okay, have our ideas aligned just yet? Yes, they have. So, let us have a look and check that flight plan is looking as we expect it to. So, straight out departure to the east, then northeast as we fly up. And that looks as I expected it to. That is good. Let's come back now to our flight management computer. Let's carry on. We're now going to put in the fun VOR just in case we need that. In fact, what's the identifier for that? Is it FUN? It is FUN, isn't it? Yeah, fun. Should know that after the other day, last night. Pop that in there just for reference in case we need it for some reason. There we go. So that's the RadNav page set up. Now to our init B and fuel planning page. So, Lewis Aviation, which page? It is page 1, the OFP route. I have actually got a very detailed tutorial coming out for SimBrief, probably at the weekend. Recorded it last night actually, and I just need to edit little bits of that, but that video will be coming and it will explain absolutely everything regarding the operational flight plan that you can see. So once again guys, if you're in the chat and you're asking me questions, I'm not going to take the questions at the moment, but please do stick around until we get airborne and I will answer absolutely everything you want to know, within reason. Right, so where are we? Zero fuel weight is 55.56. Zero fuel weight 56.0, and we'll use a standard zero fuel weight center of gravity 30.0. And what's the trip wind today? A tailwind of 27. Lovely, not like the headwind we had yesterday all the way here. Okay, so our fuel planning page, let's go ahead and press this. The aircraft says we need 4.7 tons, and we're taking a little bit less than that. I'm going to go with less just because of the way the aircraft burns. We're taking 4.6. If it was more, I would adjust it, but 4.6 is accurate enough for me on that. So these numbers will all start to populate in a moment. Takeoff weight 60.5. Yeah, that seems about right. Just let those populate. There we go. So let's go to the fuel prediction page. Estimated fuel on board at the time we arrive. At the moment it's saying 1.5 tons. However, we will probably have more than that just because of how the aircraft burns fuel, or rather doesn't burn fuel. I believe all of our passengers are now on board, so that's good. Close that main door. And I believe self-loading cargo is actually behaving at the moment, so that's quite nice.
Hi Captain, all passengers are on board and doors have been closed.
That's great, thank you.
Wonderful. So, glad that they're all getting comfortably set into their seats. Alright, so let's have a look now at our takeoff performance. So, working our way down. The transition altitude here is at 6,000 feet. That's important. So make a note of that for when we're doing our departure briefing in a moment. Transition altitude 6,000 feet. Thrust reduction is actually going to be the same as acceleration for a normal noise abatement to departure. So 1170 and 1170. Flaps 1 for our departure. We do not require putting the trimmable horizontal stabilizer setting in there because it makes no difference to the aircraft and it usually changes anyway, but let's just double check what we expect it to be. So with our center of gravity, oh, that's absolutely almost bang on, isn't it? So that's going to be, in this aircraft it should be 0. In this aircraft I believe it is down 3 just because of the way the trim settings work. That's not quite accurate just yet. Alright, so flex 2 temp, it is going to be a toga takeoff today, so we don't need to worry about flex temp takeoff. It is a toga takeoff as is regulated by Easyjet SOPs, and also the airport itself suggests you use maximum thrust takeoff. So with that we can now calculate these V speeds. There we go, V1, VR and V2. No speed restrictions on our departure, so nice and straightforward with that setup. Okay then guys, let's talk through our departure briefing. It is actually a captain's only takeoff at this airport, and the reason for that, obviously it's nowhere near as complicated as the landing, but it's the winds. You get wind shear quite a bit with this airport. So yeah, captain's only takeoff. However, the takeoff is actually nice and straightforward here. So following our takeoff from runway 5, it is a right hand turn as soon as practical because we have hills in front of us if we don't turn. Along the Dagon 3 November departure route, so right turn after takeoff, minimum safe altitude 3,500 feet, transition altitude is 5,000 feet, which is why I've actually just popped that in wrong, 5,000 feet. However, our initial climb altitude is 6,000 feet, so that means we're actually climbing to a flight level. So as soon as we can in the flight deck, in the real world, once we'd gone back to climb thrust and started accelerating, that's when we would set standard pressure. If I don't get it done just then because I'm concentrating on other things, it's purely because I'm a single crew and I don't have a first officer next to me. Okay, so at this point then we will get our ATC Departure Clearance. However, there is no air traffic control online. The weather is fine for our takeoff here. The winds aren't too strong, so there shouldn't be anything concerning us too much. The aircraft is fine. No times and the threats we've discussed. The big hill in front of us and to the left, so takeoff after takeoff and a right turn. Checking our landing weight. This is a little bit interesting. If anything goes wrong on departure, and say we have an engine out or something like that, then realistically we wouldn't want to return here. Even though the weather's not too bad, you've still got the possibility of wind shear, and let's face it, for those of you that saw the stream yesterday and flew with me yesterday, who would want to return here with anything less than a fully operational aircraft? So if anything does go wrong, our takeoff alternate is Golf Charlie Tango Sierra, so that's where we'd be heading. Tenerife South, I think that is. So that's just worth noting. Alright, so passengers on board, we can get our pushback clearance, pop the rotating beacon light on, check everything is set before carrying on. Just before we do that, let's make sure cockpit preparation is all complete. The signs are on and auto adheres are aligned and we're set to nav. Fuel quantity set, balance, flash management guidance system is all set, and our altimeter is 1008, checked and cross-checked. Welcome on board, passengers.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen from the flight deck. My name is Gavin, and I'll be your pilot flying you today. We're currently on schedule for departure, so not expecting any further delays, and we'll be looking to push back very shortly. The weather today is looking calm, so we should be able to give you a nice, relaxing flight. The cabin crew will be delivering their safety briefing very shortly, so please give them your full attention. Once we're airborne, we'll turn the seatbelt signs off and release the cabin, but for now, please get yourselves comfortable with seatbelts securely fastened. Thank you for choosing EasyJet today, and we hope you enjoy your flight.
Excuse me. Okay, so before start checklist, below the line, windows and doors closed and armed, rotating beacon light is on, mobile phones off, parking brake is on, let us call the tug. And before we do that, just remember we are on Vatsim tonight, so we best make a call. Funchal traffic, easy 34 Alpha Mike, pushing back from stand Alpha 4, tail to the left to taxi runway 05. Alright, so nose wheel steering disc is disconnected, everything else is set. We've done the before start checklist. Let's begin our pushback. Parking brake released, and back we go, not too quick. Now, one of the things we need to be aware of just here is we do not, in fact I haven't released the parking brake at all, I've just set it, I forgot, we'd actually left that off, hadn't we, to cool the engines down. Thank God HD isn't here. Let's have a look at those wheels. They're still very hot. I'm not sure why. That might just be a sim issue. So pushback is on its way. So rotating beacon light is on, however we are not yet starting the engines. The reason for that is if you do have a navigraph and you read through the appropriate charts, engines must not be started on the ramp. Pushback must have been completed prior to engine start.
On behalf of the crew, I ask that you please direct your attention to the monitors as we review the emergency procedures. There are 6 emergency exits on the aircraft. Take a minute to locate the one closest to you and note that it may be behind you. Count the number of rows to the exit. Should the cabin experience pressure loss, stay
Radio
calm and
traffic
listen
speed
for
limit
instructions from the
1495,
cabin crew.
pushback and start from
Oxygen
stand
masks will drop
5,
down for the
taxi
passenger.
2, runway 5.
Place the mask over your mouth and nose like this, and pull the strap to tighten it. If you are traveling with children, make sure you put your own mask on first before helping others. In the unlikely event of an emergency landing and evacuation, leave your carry-on luggage and items behind. Life rafts are located below your seats and emergency lighting in the floors will lead you to the closest exit. We ask that you make sure that all carry-on luggage is stowed away safely during the flight. While we wait for takeoff, please take a moment to review the safety procedures on the card in the pocket in front of you. Thank you for your attention and we hope you enjoy.
Engine mode, select ignition. Engine 1 start. So we need to hold here while we start the engines. I think it might be raining, you know. Can anyone else see any rain? Oh yeah, there's rain. Shouldn't affect us anyway. We're on toga takeoff, so we don't need to adjust any sort of flex temp calculations. Nusret, come work with you in Istanbul for Pegasus. Last flight was 2 weeks ago. Do you know how many pilots would have killed to have their last flight only 2 weeks ago? You know, several that are not flying at all. Raoul Paul, you're trying to get the specs for the PC. Hang on, mate. Try again. I can deal with a couple of things here just while. Just whilst we're waiting for these engines to spool up. Engine 1 available, starting engine 2. Kumar, how do I get the pushback? Okay, so the pushback, I use a little tool called Pushback Helper. Free little tool, fantastic thing, and it is available from Flight
Madeira ground, Skyways, 5556, pushback, facing south.
So I'm going to turn those first officer displays off just to save some frame rates there. UK Aviation, which yoke side stick do I use? It is obviously a side stick in the Airbus, and it's a Logitech. So we'll just wait for engine 2 to spool up. Thank you, Nusret. I hope your next flight is a good one, and very soon. Engine 2 is stabilized, so engine mode select to norm. APU bleed can now come off. Anti-ice will be on for departure, and engine masters can come on as well. Sorry, APU masters can come off rather. Ground spoilers armed. Rudder trim check 0, and set flaps 1 for takeoff. Pitch trim is down 0.3. ECAM status is good, so we'd be cleared to disconnect at this point. So the after start checklist: anti-ice on, ECAM status checked, pitch trim, as I say, down 0.3, and rudder trim 0. We don't have much room to play with now, so let's just have a look and move forward so we can do our next checks, because we're very close to the runway. Pushback is clear. We'd now get the taxi clearance if ATC was online. We can turn on the parking, the taxi light. Parking brake can come off. Thrust levers as required, and we will do a brake check as well. Before we do this, let's check our flight controls. Full left, full right, neutral. Full up, full down, neutral. Rudder full right, rudder full left, and neutral. Weather radar can come on, predictive wind shear can come on, very important at this airport of course. Auto brake set max. Cabin crew will alert them to be ready for takeoff.
Cabin crew, we're about ready to push back, so if you please hold the door out.
Slightly late message there from from self-loading cargo. TO config. we've still got the brakes hot warning, haven't we, guys? Still got brakes hot warning. They're not going to cool down, not without brake fans, which aren't modelled. So unfortunately, we are going to have to bypass that and pretend that isn't there. We shouldn't affect us. Okay, press clear. We're still going to get that warning all the way there, unfortunately. We will pop terrain on for our departure, and we'll do the brake check in a moment as we set rolling. So, parking brake should have been set. Naughty, naughty. Otherwise we could have squished the tug driver. Let us begin this forward movement, and then we can also check our brakes as well.
Cabin crew, seat for takeoff, please.
Okay, brake check. We also need to hold at the Cat 2 holds, so we'll hold that just here before we prepare to enter the runway area. So brake temperatures we already know about. Brake fans, we can't take them off. Takeoff lineup clearance, can't get that, there's no air traffic control on board, but the approach path, I've not heard anything on the radio and it looks fine as well. So let's get all the lights on. So landing lights, takeoff, runway turn off lights, strobe lights, and packs will come off as we get to the end of the runway following our backtrack. Transponder, TCAS, TARA, and before takeoff, checklist. So flight controls checked, briefing confirmed.
Madeira traffic speed mode
Flap setting,
157,
config 1.
pushing back facing south after the Skyways passage.
FMA takeoff data, so 127 blue, 132 magenta. Climb nav blue, and it's a toga takeoff for us today. Transponder set, ECAM memo, we do have a blue, but unfortunately we won't be able to clear that. Front child traffic easy 34 Alpha Mag entering runway 05 to backtrack and takeoff runway 05 departure to the south. Scandi 941, good evening.
Madeira traffic, Skyways 5556 taxiing south to taxiway Charlie. Will hold short behind the British Airways A320.
So of course there is a turning pad here. Did anyone answer my pop quiz question the other night? What is the turning circle of the A320? See if anyone gets that right in the chat. A little oversensitive with the brakes. Unfortunately, that again is a sim issue, just because using a push button for the brakes, you can't apply just a little brake pressure. It's all or nothing, unfortunately. 15 meters, not quite. MFS pilot 3 meters. It's going to be a little bit more than that, I'm afraid. Boy, that looks good, doesn't it? That looks really good. I like that. Love the graphics in this aircraft. Well, this simulator. 25 meters, GamerTube, you're so close. Okay, packs coming off for takeoff. Going to take the dome light down as well. Alright. So, just do my final checks. We're going to get a ding here because they are too hot, but we can't do anything about that, which is annoying. We need the brake fans to get modelled, don't we? Cabin secure for takeoff, engine mode select is normal, TCAS, TA, RA, packs are off, anti-ice is on. Start the chrono, and away we go. Mantoga, SRS and runway. There's the ECAM warning telling us about the brakes. $100 knots.
Check.
V1 and rotate.
Positive right. Gear up.
Oh, the self-loathing cargo seem to be screaming nicely.
Speedbird 1495, entry runway 05, backtrack to take off.
Climb thrust. And there's that right-hand turn. Pass S-speed in a moment. Let's get those packs back on. Standard pressure. Flaps 0. Spoilers disarmed. And accelerating away now to 250 knots. Flight directors look good, so at this point we can pop on autopilot 1 engaged. Alright, we've no air traffic control around, so we can actually increase now our initial climb.
56, holding short on Charlie, waiting for departing British Airways.
And our actual climb altitude today, which we could set now if we wanted, to be fair, is flight level 360. So let's take her all the way up. Flight level 360. There we go. Decent enough climb rate, about 4,000 feet per minute just coming in.
Nigeria traffic speedbird 1495, takeoff runway 5.
A little bit too cloudy to see the lights down below us. And to be fair, we probably won't see many lights at all until we hit land again in Portugal.
Speedbird 157, taxiing to holding point Charlie behind the Speedbird.
Ladies and gentlemen, you may now use your electronic devices. Rechargeable battery packs are available for your smartphones and tablets at an additional super chats or super sticker cost. Please ask your cabin crew for more information.
Okay, passing 10,000 feet, landing lights can come off. We turn the anti-ice off because there's no
No
clouds around now.
56 entering runway 05, backtrack for takeoff.
Do you know what, guys? I've not even turned the iPad on. I forget that's there. We obviously have looked at it in a little bit of detail in the past, in a few other flights, haven't we? I wonder if I can actually get it functional mid-flight. Insert username. Oh, I've not even got the username inserted. Never mind. I said the best way to get the username to be inserted is to copy and paste it. Don't try and type it all in, otherwise you may break your aircraft. I'm only saying that because that's what we did the other night when we attempted to play with it. Standard pressure now on the standby instrument. Passing flight level 130. Okay guys, so if you were asking me questions whilst we were on the ground and I ignored you, I apologise, but now is a great time to ask those questions. Autopilot is on, my workload is vastly reduced. Phil, when updating the plane, is it necessary to delete previous versions from the community folder first? Yes, I do. I don't think they say it's 100% necessary, but I think it's just good practice. You don't want any leftover files or anything like that. Just delete and get a new one in there. Makes sense. Plus, you know, you've definitely got the right one there, haven't you? Squareness, where is Lima Papa Fox Romeo? It is Faro. Faro on the south coast of Portugal.
Madeira traffic skyways, 5556 departing runway 05.
MFS pilot, this is, it's not the dev build, or it is the dev build, but it is the custom fly-by-wire. I've gone back to that. I just like the handling of it a lot more. There's the island to the northeast of Funchal. I forget what it's called now. There it is. With a much easier runway to approach, although I'm not sure about the length of it. Looks big enough from up here, doesn't it? We are 20,000 feet in the air, almost. Faro, faro, potato, patata. Tomato, tomato.
Madeira traffic speed by 137, holding short on runway 5 at Charlie.
Scanning 941, what's that?
Madeira traffic,
The brightness of which?
652 is pushing back and starting from taxi stand A2 for runway 05 departure.
J-Hog, the stable version does not have the iPad in it. It hasn't been updated for a while now, the stable version. The developer version has got loads in it. So get yourself the developer version. You'll find lots of new fancy features. MFS pilot, that's it. Okay, we can release the cabin crew and our passengers as well. Everything is looking good.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captain has turned off the seatbelt sign so you are free to move about the cabin. However, please note that we do recommend you fasten your seatbelts at all times when you are seated in case of turbulence. Thank you.
So optimum cruise is 390. We've got 360 planned, so that's fine. J-Hog, bear with me 1 second. So if anyone's wanting to get either the custom fly-by-wire build or the developer version, then head to this website, scroll down about halfway down, and you'll see the different versions that you can download. Yeah, the printed version, of course, is also working in the experimental custom fly-by-wire build that we've got here, and we're going to use it in a little bit. Get some weathers en route. GameTube HD, it's called self-loading cargo. Great little tool, even if the cabin crew don't know how to shut the door properly.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to serve a selection of alcoholic drinks including wine and locally sourced ales. Please make sure your tray table is in the down position and clear any items from the aisle. This is a paid-for service, so please consider tipping the cabin crew and the channel using stickers or super chats. Thank you.
Okay, well, maybe that'll calm the passengers down. A little bit of alcohol following that departure. Yeah, if you want to download the installer, you can you also get that? Oh yes, you can. On that link I said, the installer link is also on there as well. So you've got your choice. You can download the installer to hold on automatically, or you can download the individual versions, including the developer and the experimental version. MFS Pilot, nah. I'll put the dome light on in a little bit. We're still cruising at the moment, so I want my eyes attuned to the dark in case anything bad happens. We'll get the dome light on at cruise when we discuss what's going to be happening for our arrival. Scandy 941, you've got turbulence above Switzerland. I would imagine that's something to do with the Alps. Stuart, does the weather update on the electronic flight bag? Good question. No idea, I'm afraid. It's still a little bit too new. I guess you'd have to sit there on the ground watching to see if a rain cloud passed over you, wouldn't you? They must pull it in from somewhere, though. It has to be pulled in from somewhere. So, can I actually move? No, if I can link the McDo to show where we are. The dispatch. Back to dashboard. No, to be fair, I probably needed to do it whilst I was on the ground. Having said that, we've just departed Madeira, or Funchal, and how about there? There is rain there, and it was raining on the ground when we left, didn't it? So, I'd say that's pretty accurate. I'm going to have to use these touch buttons to zoom in and out. And if we just have a look, let's zoom in on Faro, where we're landing, shall we? Let's have a quick look, and oh, weather's looking alright there. We could just keep that on there, couldn't we, and see if see what that looks like in a few minutes time, see if those rain clouds move. Although I think in order to get this map to be updated, you have to flick a page at the moment. I don't think it updates automatically if you just sat on that page. Yeah, Stuart, I think if you do it at the gate, you've probably got much more of a fighting chance. God knows what would happen if I tried to do it now. I'm not going to bother. It's only a short flight. We should be on the ground in a little over an hour. Lewis, what flight level are you at? You shouldn't be at flight level 40,000. Not in an Airbus A320 anyway, so apologies if you are in something else. Passing flight level 320, so we're almost at our cruising altitude. Dark Fury, you've got a buggy map. Fair enough. Scandi 941, are you saying on good authority you have seen the map update live? Have you? Have to watch out for that. Oh, Lewis, if you're in the 777, fair play to you. I don't know the ceiling altitude of the 777 off my heart. Does VNAV work on the A320? Not yet, my friend. Not yet, rapper. We just work it out all ourselves. And we're quite happy with that. Speaking of working it out ourselves, we should probably do a little bit of that, shouldn't we? So what are we doing for our approach? We'll do that after we've just hit the cruise and checked our weathers for the alternate, and of course the weathers on at our destination. Simon, max altitude A320, you don't want to be pushing any more than 390. Christian, good evening. Look, the mouse works. Works beautifully. Thank you very much, my friend, for that. Good old Amazon. Oh, 1,000 feet to go, then we're at our top of cruise. The rapper, yeah, no, I'll be going all the way through the approach, so go through that with you. to be fair, this is probably the easiest approach you'll ever do. This is why I know HD likes it. Stuart, do you use any head tracking? No, I don't. I fancy playing with it. I do fancy playing with it. In fact, I've just got a new phone that might actually allow me to do it. I had an Huawei P9, and when I looked into it, there's that little program you can use, isn't there, which uses your phone, but the Huawei P9 wasn't modern enough to try that, so I might have to try that now. I've now just got the P30, so we'll have to wait and see. That's a good idea. Oh, now I don't want to homeschool tomorrow with the kids, I want to play with that. Kumar, I'll show you some external views once I've got to the top of the cruise and done some checks, my friend. Back and forth with the knobs. No, Christian, don't want any of that. Ah, Leonard, good evening. Back to Faro, I see. Yeah, well, it's a nice short flight, and after yesterday, we needed an easy approach, didn't we? Blaster Kid, have you got your tablet updating your location? What would happen if I tried to play with it now? Do you know what? Let me try something. I apologise now if this all goes very wrong and we lose the stream. Okay, so I just Easyjet Sim Pilot. I will just copy that. See, I've tried to link them up, but again, I should have done that on the ground. Let's type in Easyjetsimpilot. There it is. So if I now link from SimBrief, will that pull it in? Right, so I've pulled in all the information, which is nice. What is really nice is I know from the flight we did yesterday that these METARs update automatically as well. So I'm trying to link the McDo position, but I don't think it's going to update me on the map. No, it's not going to update the map. I needed to do that on the ground whilst I was stationary, I think. Never mind. But we've got the load sheet. Which, we were trying to do this yesterday, weren't we? Oh, there we go. If you click on it, you can scroll through, but I ended up getting stuck at the bottom. So let's just have a little look at this. Where are we expecting our biggest bout of turbulence for this flight? Shear rate is at Ogda. Where's Ogda? Ogda. So about 27 minutes into the flight, if we're going to get turbulence, that is probably where it's going to be. I now can never get off this page. Oh, there we go. Oh, fair enough. That was a little bit more successful than yesterday. Yeah, so, if the iPad is working with the aircraft tracking its movements, then I think we might have to try that. I tried it yesterday. Was it with the flight here, wasn't it, to Funchal? And it got you in the right place on the ground, but it just never moved after that. Having said that, I am on the custom fly-by-wire build, which is normally about 48 hours behind the dev version, and the dev version can be updated several times a day, so I'm a couple of days behind there. Right, Scandi 941, were you here yesterday when we were discovering how to do the old scroll sheet, scrolling down on the load sheet? Okay, this is far more complicated than it should be. However, click on dispatch obviously to get to your load sheet. Now the only way you can scroll up or down, what I would like instinctively to be able to do is to just left click and move up or down. Right clicking will not work because in the simulator that's how you pan around. So if you have a mouse wheel, click your mouse wheel right near the top of the page, and then if you can see, that should be working. The problem is as well, for some reason in the sim, clicking the mouse wheel in the sim also moves, activates a panning motion in there. So I'm going to have to, maybe if I can, oh god. Yeah, it's not intuitive in the slightest, but press right at the very top of the screen and right at the very bottom of the screen, press the mouse wheel down, but I don't find it intuitive, sadly. Oh, Scandi 941, don't thank me. That was one of the I forgot who that was yesterday. Was it Dark Fury yesterday that told us about that? But we did all end up breaking it because it got stuck, and yeah, it doesn't work properly. There must be a much better way to scroll. Anyway, we're now at our cruise altitude, so we just need to go through a couple of procedures.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the cockpit, once again, just to let you know that we've reached our cruise level for today's flight. We're not anticipating any delays, so we should have you at your destination on time as planned. As the cabin crew make their way around the aircraft, you will ensure the eyes on any items, and you're ready to sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of the flight. Thank you.
So I'm just getting the alternate weather in as well. And we'll also have a look. So we've got Seville in there, and Reina Sofia, which is Tenerife South. Let's put Malaga in, although it's a little bit far away, but Lima Echo Mike Golf. Of course, hopefully we shouldn't need any of these. Whilst we're waiting for those messages to come through, let's cycle through our SD pages, which again, clicking the all button doesn't quite work, so we have to do it manually. So engines, they're fine, bleed air is all good, pressure, landing elevation auto is correct, but it's not 2,000 feet, or rather minus 2,000 feet. Electrical page is still stuffed, ignore that. Fuel is fine, APU is off, 23 degrees in the flight deck, and cabins, doors of course. Let's have a look at these wheels. So they're cooling down a little bit now, the higher up we are obviously. 200 degrees C. Flight controls are fine. That's good. Okay, let's get the METAR printed off. There that comes. So now I'm going to put the dome lights on and see what we're doing. Paul, absolutely none, which is great. So the fly-by-wire team have done a great job of not only implementing the new technology but also keeping frame rates up. Sam C, apologies, I am having a drink whilst we're here. Sam C, the turning circle is 24 meters. Christian, I have no idea why the brakes are hot. It just came in like that. Maybe HD got back home yesterday and took my new aircraft out for a ride. Alright, so let's go and have a look at these. So, Faroes weather, winds 240 at 3, that's lovely. Varying out to the west and south. Visibility is great. Fuel clouds 1,200 feet, scattered clouds 3,500 feet. Temperature 13, dew point 13, QNH 1007. MFS pilot, that's right, we've got good old backcountry squash. Eddie Reese, welcome to Portugal. I'm not there yet, don't jinx it. Dark Fury, 24 meters. The turn is for the A320. Well, the A320 Neo. I don't think there's going to be a difference between the 320 and 320 Neo, but I could be wrong. That's according to the SOPs that I've got anyway. And then just looking at those alternates, weather's pretty good everywhere, isn't it? On the southern tip of Portugal and Spain. Christian, you thought I'd aborted the takeoff. No, we don't tend to abort those, just landings. Alright. We'll check that again when we're a little bit closer, then we can put an updated updated information into the performance page. So where are we? We're 24 minutes into the flight. Where did I say we could expect turbulence? If there was to be any turbulence, I don't think there is actually. A low shear rate today at Ogdor, which is... In fact, we're direct Ogdor now, so once we get there, 25 miles away, if we were going to get any turbulence, that's where it would be. That's where they'd predict clear air turbulence, but I'm not too worried. Just having a look at the significant weather charts, which, can I show you on here? Can I show you on here? Right, let's try, shall we? So, do we click down? There's a lot of no times here. I've gone all the way down to the bottom. Oh, come on, it's not intuitive. I have no idea whether I'm going down or up. Right. This is going down. Down, 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 down. Down, here we go. Alright, so, the problem is when I get here, this is where we get stuck. I've done it again. I'm stuck on this is exactly what happened yesterday. We get stuck on these weather charts, and it doesn't allow me to then move the image back up. I can press the scroll wheel, I can press the mouse buttons, nothing happens. We're just stuck. But anyway, what I was going to show you here is this. This is obviously the flight route that we've got, and we've got. I can't zoom in close enough to see that. But we've got isolated, embedded cumulonimbus clouds up to flight level 340. So we should be above them. Should be above them. But yeah, that's where turbulence would occur if we were going to get any. So, not worried about that.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to serve a selection of snacks. Please make sure your tray table is in the down position and clear any items from the aisle. If you would like to upgrade your meal to the premium package, please pay the cabin crew using stickers or super chats to help support the channel. Thank you.
So yeah, Christian, you're right. We're benefiting from that, from a tailwind today. And it was. We had 100 knot headwind coming here yesterday. Very low ground speed for a change. Oh, so have we all had a very good Thursday? What have we been doing? I've been homeschooling, which is why there was no stream during the day today. It will be exactly the same tomorrow. So, no daytime stream, but an evening stream. Again, starting around the same time of 2000 hours Zulu time. So here's our left turn. Oh, that's neat. I hadn't noticed that. The reflection of the fly pad on the window. Ha! Now if only I could change the page and I could see it move, that would be sweet. No, I'm stuck. Stuck on that page again. I don't even know how to turn it off. You can't turn the tablet off. Sam, see, I saw you'd started making one. Yeah, I saw that just before I came on here. That looks mightily impressive. I wish I had the know-how to do something similar. How on earth are you going to get that interfaces with fly-by-wire technology? That's just completely different level of thinking to me. I'll stick to flying them rather than programming them. But we'll be interested to see how that comes along. Very much so. So keep us updated on the Discord. That's great. Paul, you flew from Athens to Manchester for your first full flight on Vatsim. Excellent. And did you enjoy it? course you did. And you're never going back now, are you? You're going to do every flight on Vatsim. It becomes, you get hooked on it. I know I did. Hey, well I am. Dark Fury, I must have tried that. Clicking scroll on the EFB and move it. Hang on a minute. Oh, Dark Fury, have you just saved us again? There's an invisible scroll wheel here, there, isn't there? You're right, on the over towards the right hand side. It's one of them light bulb moments. Right, so you can scroll. There you go. You don't scroll the top. You don't hit the top or the bottom. Everything's on the far right hand side. Oh, Dark Fury, you've done it again. So, Blasted Kid, there you go, far right hand side. So, although I'm sure every time you I need to disconnect that. Well, now I'm not actually clicking anything, but I'm still scrolling just by hovering the mouse over it. I think it's got a little mind of its own. MFS Pilot, the best thing I can tell you with regards to Vatsim is get yourself registered, pass the test, and then go and sit at a busy airport out of the way somewhere, as shown in my tutorial video, your first time on Vatsim in Flight Sim 2020. Go and have a look at that, and it'll tell you how to get yourself set up for that, and just listen. Once you're okay with all the terminology, it's fine. And essentially all you're doing is reading back what the air traffic control tells you. That's all you're doing. You're reading it back. As long as you understand it, of course, that's the main thing. Right, how on earth do I get back to the top? So I'm almost clicking it once, goes one way. Clicking it again, goes the other way. There we go, I'm back at the top again now. Ugh, fair enough. Let's have a look at that weather then, see if that looks any different. The test MFS Pilot is just a, I think it's a multiple choice test, isn't it? That they introduced shortly after the release of flights in 2020, because a lot of new pilots wanted to join. But in order to keep it for pilots that actually knew how to fly, they had to introduce some sort of test. That page has changed, hasn't it, looking at the weather? That's not what it looked like before. Sweet, that is nice. Sam C, the hardest part for you is the taxi instructions. Yeah, particularly if you're unfamiliar with the runway, with the airport. And, oh look, a little orange glow there. Yeah, if you're unfamiliar with the airport, then understandably so, it can be difficult. It can also be difficult if the ground controller tells you to taxi to a parking gate which is right in the middle of a terminal building and doesn't actually exist. It has happened. Paul, will taxi charts be on the flight bag and a ground map? You've got Navigraph. Well, Paul, we were let into a little secret a couple of days back by one of the developers. I think they're talking with Navigraph. They're hoping it will come. Hoping it will come. So Daniel Goddard, you raised a very good point there. Are you able to use it as a scratch pad for Vatsim instructions whilst in VR? I'm going to say no, and that is the problem with VR. Of course, it will be fantastic for immersion, but in the real world, you've got a desk. You can't click it yet, and you can't extend it, but you've got a tray table. So this little black thing here is a tray table that extends, so you can put your papers, your charts, and you can scribble instructions down. As I sit here now talking to you, I've got a piece of paper in front of me which has got all the information I need on it, and obviously a pen, so if ATC do come online, I can scribble away their instructions. Blaster Kid, you just realised there's a time on the tablet too, is there? Oh, so there is. What time's that showing? 21:11. So that's Zulu time. Yeah, spot on. Although I think that is actually a little bit behind because that's linked to my computer time, and I think the computer time's a little bit behind as well. Right, guys, we need to start talking about this approach, don't we? So, Connor, you use the McDo keypad just to jot down notes quickly, like a taxi route. That's one way of doing it. Unless you're at Amsterdam, you're going to run out of room on the scratch pad. MFS pilot Zulu time is essentially Greenwich Mean Time. It is a universal coordinated time used the world over. So I'm in the UK, which means I'm lucky because I am always on Zulu time, with the exception of 6 months of the year when we go into the silly daylight saving time or whatever it's called. Salome Lewis, hello from Jamaica. Thank you very much for joining us. So the Rapper, the Reverb G2 VR has a feature where you can say a phrase and it'll quickly let you see into the real world. That is a great idea. Fantastic. Okay guys, so this approach. For those of you that do have Navigraph charts, those of you that do, the approach is the Gimal 6 Alpha. So this is where I start writing stuff down, you see. That's why I need the tray table. So it's the Gimal 6 Alpha. And that requires us to be at our initial approach fix of Gebti at an altitude of 3,000 feet. So I want to be at 3,000 feet by Gebti. That is our initial approach fix, and from there it's basically a left turn, or maybe a left turn just before Gebti to intercept the ILS. Platform altitude is 2,000 feet. At 9 miles from the runway. We'll probably intercept it much higher than 2,000 feet, and probably about that 3,000 feet at Gebti, so we won't be down quite that low. Transition altitude then is 4,000 feet. We'll get the current QNH for that when we get a little bit closer. We can put in the Faro VOR on the RadNav page, which is Victor Foxtrot Alpha. Victor Foxtrot Alpha. There we go. We can turn that on. That just gives us a reference as to how far away we are. AD Sparks, good evening. It'll be a Cat 1 approach because visibility is absolutely fine, which means it is a decision minimum descent altitude of 218. Minimum safe altitude from the route we are coming in is 1,400 feet. So I'll go through all this in a moment. I'm just scribbling stuff down from the charts that I've got. Scandi 941. It's good when it's busy, but you've got to be on your toes, haven't you? Missed approach altitude. What have we got? Missed approach altitude is straight ahead 3,000 feet. Hopefully we shall not need that tonight. So MFS pilot, I'll go through that with you in a second. So the missed approach, if anything happens on the missed approach, it's straight ahead, and when passing 2,000 feet, left turn direct Gimal, which is 15 miles from the Faro VOR. Another reason why we've programmed that into the RadNav page. Okay, so MFS pilot, the the MDA is on the approach charts. So we're doing a Cat 1 approach. We are a Category C aircraft. And yeah, they're there at the bottom of the approach charts. So you can see that for Cat 1 it's 218. If we were doing a Cat 2 approach, it would be 118. But we're not. Paul, where are you? Lanzarote to Edinburgh. Didn't you do that flight yesterday? Are you doing the same flight again? Have you been and come back? Right, when do we need to start our top of descent? Let me just do a quick calculation for that. So we're going to be descending down to 3,000 feet, unless our traffic control tell us otherwise, but I don't think they're online at the moment. Which means we'll want to begin our descent at... Have we got a tailwind? A very slight tailwind. About 110 miles away. 110 miles away from Gepti. So that's fine. Paul, you're doing the return. Fair play to you. Nick, I'm expecting, or currently planned for, runway 28, ILS Zulu approach. Stainless, so you just brought the reverb to and never heard of a saying or phrase that allows you to see into the real world. I hope it does. I mean, that sounds like a genius idea, doesn't it? Absolute genius idea. How are our passengers doing? Only 62% satisfied. Yeah, well, that's because they were wimps on departure. J-Hog, you're just passing Tiggy. Oh, okay guys, that's a private joke. Nice to know she's sat in the Atlantic Ocean. Salome Lewis, we are off to Faro this evening. It's all very dark and quiet, isn't it? Martin Blair, are we just chilling in the air? Do you know what? We are. Unfortunately, can't even give you a decent view outside. It's night time. Nothing to see here, my friends. Fun stuff starts in a little while, doesn't it? So, what are we? 42 minutes into the flight. Should be on the ground in half an hour or so. No, 50 minutes. Chilling in the cruise over the Atlantic, the cold, cold Atlantic. To be fair, Dark Fury, you are right there. I love the way they've even modelled the right constellations and things. Not just the right constellations, but the correct orientation, the correct moon phases as well. Do you know something I've never been lucky enough to do, but something I want to do? I'd love to cruise the Atlantic. Only one way, I'd be bored doing it there and back. But I'd love to cruise the Atlantic. One, because I just like the idea of it. And two, because at night time, I'd love to go on deck and actually get a proper view of the stars without any light pollution. AD Sparks, first time catching us on live. Oh, fantastic! Thank you very much. Glad you like the content. Thank you very much for your support. Whilst we're in the cruise, then, guys, with nothing else to do, if you could all do us a favour and just hit the like button for the stream. Go on, it'll take you 5 seconds, and it just helps us with the YouTube rankings and tries to advertise us to a little bit more people. That would be lovely. And of course, if you haven't hit the subscribe button, then if it's your first time here, please do consider it. This is actually the type of flight a pilot wants, just because the workload at the moment obviously is very, very little. The approach is all keyed in. We need to get some weathers in a while just to ensure that they're up to date. The coding in the flight computer looks great for our approach. It all matches up what I expected to see with the charts, so that's nice. The only thing we need to be aware of as well is, well, I'll tell you what, let me go through the approach briefing with you now. So those guys following me in your aircraft, in fact there's a point, if I nip outside, can we see anybody? Can I see any lights in the distance? Can't see anybody. Oh well. Just stars. Can't see any strobe lights or anything like that. But alright, so Sam, so you know someone who did the Atlantic crossing and it wasn't a smooth sailing. Wasn't a relative on the Titanic, was it? The rapper, you subscribe to hundreds of channels, but this is the only one you've turned on notifications for. Oh my man, thank you very much for that. Oh, that's great news. Alright, so the approach briefing then. So we're arriving via the Gimel 6 Alpha standard arrival, which takes us to Gepti. We want to be at 3,000 feet by Gepti. Which means that this cruise altitude of 36,000 feet, we're going to start the descent 110 miles away from Gepti to make sure we're at 3,000 feet by then. It's a runway 28 ILS Zulu approach. The platform altitude is 2,000 feet. Transition altitude is 4,000 feet. Minimum descent altitude for the ILS is 218 feet. Should have no issues with the weather, visibility is great. Minimum safe altitude is 1,400 feet. And our missed approach procedure is climb straight ahead to 3,000 feet. Upon passing 2,000 feet, make a left turn to Gimel, which is 15 miles away from the Faro VOR, which we've got programmed in already down here. Oh, that doesn't look pretty, does it? In fact, if I just zoom in here, what was the latest METAR time on here? Because these apparently update the METARs on here. So, there we go, that's just updated. So 2100 hours Zulu. So this is 25 minutes ago. 050 at 5. Oh, 050 at 5. Ah, right. That's interesting. That might just have made our boarding flight a little bit more interesting. Yeah. So the wrapper, all this information that I'm giving you is from Navigraph charts. I need to get a weather actually in the simulator to check this. Messages received. Let's get a weather request. Because if that is the wind direction, we're probably going to be coming in on a different runway. Minimum descent altitude is, what did I say, 218 feet. Right, okay, messages received. What was I saying about it being a nice, easy, steady flight with nothing to do? Okay, right, so that has changed. QNH 1005. Alright then, guys. Let me just have a look now at these Navigraph charts again, because we may have to change our approach. The winds are different to what they were when we set off. Let's have a look now at the approaches and arrivals to runway 5. Runway 5, sorry, runway 10. What am I talking about? Runway 5. Okay, so the XL 6 Charlie approach to runway 10. Let's code that in and see how that looks. So runway 10 Zulu, XL 6 Charlie. I need to get the charts for that. XL 6 Charlie. So what would this approach look like? That will be via Venol, I think. Now let's double check what this looks like in the flight plan. Oh, that looks interesting. Right, hang on a minute. Right, so that is taking us to Gimel, then Ixoli. Alright, can we delete Gimel? Let's see if we can delete that. Actually, are we direct Gimel at the moment? We are. That's why that waypoint hasn't changed. Okay, we've no air traffic control online, so instead what we can do now, let's go direct to Ixoli. Insert that. Just checking. Porto ground is online, but that's not going to affect us. Okay, now let me just check that approach, and then I'm going to have to redo my approach briefing. Alright, that is actually looking fine. It's just left the initial flight path from Gimel to Ixoli, but then that's fine. We then go direct Venol, and then we're on the approach. Okay guys, so I just very quickly need to bring up some new charts. Let's get that off. Let's take off the ILS runway 28 approach, and instead we want the ILS Zulu runway 10 approach. Good evening, Richard, thank you for popping in. Right, so what do we want now? 3,000 feet by Venol, looking at that. Platform altitude is still 2,000 feet. Okay, so we still want to be 3,000 feet by Venol, which means we're still going to start our descent 110 miles away, but 110 miles away from Venol now, as opposed to Gepti, which it was originally. How far are we away at the moment? Okay guys, right, just give me a second and I will do this approach briefing. But for those of you that are flying with me, we've had a runway change, so we're now runway 10 ILS Zulu, and we want to be at 3,000 feet by the initial approach fix, which is Venol. So we're starting our descent 110 miles from Venol now, and we're probably about 140 miles away from Venol at the moment, so that's fine. So we've still got time, we don't need to panic. Transition altitude is still 4,000 feet. Minimum descent altitude then for this is now 224, so that has changed slightly. 224. Minimum safe altitude is still the same. The missed approach procedure then is still climb straight ahead to 2,000 feet, to 3,000 feet. When passing 2,000 feet, turn right to Gimel. So exactly the same kind of missed approach, but obviously making a right-hand turn now instead of a left-hand turn. MFS pilot, no, we've not filled in the approach phases yet, but we can do that now. Digital flight deck, yeah, we have changed the runway and the approach. New boy, anywhere to get these charts without paying for Navigraph. You can get old ones battering around on the internet somewhere, but they usually are old. Okay, so very quickly, for those of you flying with me on Vatsim today, it is an ILS 10 Zulu that we are using. ILS runway 10 Zulu. It is now the the Ixoli 6 Charlie. Ixoli 6 Charlie. Standard arrival route. And once you pop that in, you need to go direct towards Ixoli. And we want to be 3,000 feet level by Venel. So that approach will be starting, that descent will probably be starting in about 20 miles time.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking again from the flight deck. You'll be delighted to know that we will be starting our descent shortly towards our destination, and the cabin crew will start preparing the aircraft for our arrival. If you can make sure the hours are clear for the cabin crew so they can make their way around the aircraft, that would be most appreciated. Thank you very much, and we'll have an update for you shortly.
Okay. So what's the message on the ECAM? So that's the outer fuel tanks, cross feeds, valves are now open. That happens when, just bring up the fuel. Okay, so when the inner tanks here drop below 750 kilograms, then they start to transfer fuels from the outer tanks to the inner tanks. So that valve remains open then. That will remain open until we land and refueling commences on the ground. That's all that means. These tanks need to remain above 750 kilograms. So it's not a cause for concern. It's normal. The wrapper, would the aircraft decide on what vertical speed to descend at? Yes, it would, in the real world. However, we're not in the real world, we're still in flight simulator. It will come, VNAV, it will come, because things like the Tollis do that, and the Aerosoft aircraft for FSX and X-Plane, etc. We're still working on that for Flight Sim 2020. It will come, the fly-by-wire guys are on it, and I know they get requested and asked about it all the time, but it will come. Alright, so we're going to begin that descent now all the way down to flight level. Well, it's not flight level, it's an altitude of 3,000 feet. We do have a tailwind, so we're going to set that descent rate of 1,700 feet, and I would like, if possible, a speed of about 270 knots. So there's the engines rolling back. So if we pop this into manage mode for the descent, I'll just show you what will happen. So at the moment it's descending quite nicely, as we've told it to at, I've said 1,700. It's descending at 1,800, but that's close enough. If we enter manage mode for our descent, just let's see how that handles it. So 1,200, which is a little bit too slow for me. It's starting to drop back down again now. Now it's hit the speed that I've told it to select. What tends to happen is once it's got the speed, manage mode at the moment just starts to drop it far too quickly. Yeah, as you can see, that's increasing. So I'm going to go back and pull that back up. as I requested. We could try open descent, see how that works. Plastic Kid, the VOR won't go into the McDo. Have you typed in the letters Victor Foxtrot Alpha rather than trying to type in the actual frequency? You can type in the frequency as well, obviously. Oh, has air traffic control just come online? Apparently it has. And they are using runway 10, so that's fine. QNH 1005. Right, I had just better check, because I think we may have to contact Portugal Control in a moment. Lisbon Control, rather. I'm waiting for a contact me, if that comes on. Oh, there we go. Speak of the devil. 12555. At least we've got the right runway in. 125.550. Lisbon, good evening, Easy34 Alpha Mike. Passing flight level 300.
Easy 34 Alpha Mike Lisboa Control, hello, set squawk 0310, runway 10 in use that far.
Set squawk 0310, Easy 34 Alpha Mike.
Lisboa Control, Skyways 5556, A320 at flight level 340, requesting to commence descent for Faro.
Skyways 5556, set squawk 1333.
Squawk 1333, Skyways.
So I just need to listen to ATC in a moment.
Clear Lisboa Control, Speedbird 137 with you, flight level 360.
Information, stand by. Easy 34 Alpha Mike. Information Alpha current at Faro, proceed direct Venal.
Proceed direct Venal and just confirm the altitude like to descend to. We're currently descending altitude 3000, Easy 34 Alpha Mike.
Easy 34 Alpha Mike, descend flight level 100.
Flight level 100 for Easy 34 Alpha Mike. Okay, so direct Venal. All the flight management computers set up correctly. That's just lovely. We like it when that happens. I'm going to just check the RadNav page.
Control, Speedbird 137 with you, flight level 360.
110.5, that is correct. Let's pop in the destination data. QNH 1005.
Squawk 1331, Speedbird 137.
Lisbon Control, Speedbird 1495 is with you at flight level 330, descending 3000 feet. Speedbird 14905, Lisboa Control, hello, set squawk 0572.
I've just realised that's an old printout, isn't it?
0572, 1495.
Let's have a look at the message received and
Skyways
print this one off.
556 identified, confirm the waypoint route you're routing to.
We're currently en route to Izali, Skyways 5556.
Okay, there we go. That's the Meteor I wanted.
Visual Control, good evening. Ryanair 5 Papa X-ray with you at flight level 350.
So just popping this information in now.
Papa X-ray Lisboa Control identified, flight level 350. Break, Speedbird 14905 identified. Proceed direct Venal. Expect runway 10 in use. Information is Bravo.
So all the information from our arrival briefing has now just been popped in. The minimum descent altitude, QNH, transition altitude, what have I done there? 4,000 feet.
Proceed direct Venal, expect runway.
There we go.
10, information Bravo 1495. Speedbird 1495, descend flight level 100.
Let's turn the brightness down, shall we, on that weather radar?
Lisbon Control, good evening. Shark 708 with you, flight level 380 in Bangkok.
Farhan, good evening.
Skyways 556 identified. Proceed direct Venal. Descend flight level 100. Information Bravo.
It's good that we've got air traffic control coming in. It makes it much more realistic for you guys
Flight
watching
level
as well.
100, information Bravo, and expecting runway 10. Skyways 556.
Lisbon Control, American 1652 with you, flight level 360.
Speedbird 946 Lisboa Control. 1 identified. Continue climb.
Spotted you gaming that pilot's loud. Yeah, Blaster Kid, I think if you change screens then the Metar updates for you, doesn't it? So if we just click there.
Lisbon
click
Control,
there.
good evening,
There you go.
Portugal 784, climbing flight level 360 with you.
Portugal 946 identified.
Could probably update it actually,
Flight level
060 at 5. So,
Portugal 784 Lisboa Control. 1 identified.
update for the
Continue climb
winds.
flight level 360.
Temperature 13, so that's right.
Continue climb flight level 360
QNH1005.
at Portugal 784.
Set the standby.
Lisboa Control, good evening. Portugal 1951, passing flight level 110 for flight level 100.
Portugal 1951 Lisboa Control. 1 set squawk 4713. Expect ILS approach runway 03.
4713 in the box and expect the ILS for 03. Portugal 1951.
In the box.
Portugal 1951.
So weather and landing information is
Descend
received.
4,000 feet.
Flight management guidance system computer is all set. Landing elevation we have. Landing elevation is 24 feet.
Speedbird 464.
Auto brake
Control.
won't be required here. Arrival briefing. We've gone through that basically.
Speedbird 1337 identified. Proceed
Arrival
direct
briefing
Venal.
is direct
Expect
Venal.
runway 10
Right hand
use.
turn.
When ready, descend
And
flight level 250.
we'll be more or less aligned with the ILS straight away. So straight in approach, I like that.
Speedbird 137, you said direct Venal, runway 15 in use, and descend down to flight level 250.
Speedbird 1337 negative. Runway 10 information Bravo.
Runway 10, information Bravo, Speedbird 137.
Do you know, I do think controllers, and quite rightly too, Vatsim controllers probably look to see where aircraft are going to be arriving and hop on.
Set squawk correction 2724.
Because he wasn't there a bit ago, I'm almost certain he wasn't.
Portugal 1951 after correction after Papa Tango 401, fly heading 120, information Foxtrot.
After Papa Tango 401, fly heading 120.
70 miles outland from the airport, or from the Ferro VOR anyway, which is
yeah, let's
at the airport.
Sorry, radio communication problem there. We're with you, flight level 360.
We've had 464 Lisboa Control, set squawk 2261, runway 10 in use, when ready descend flight level 250.
It's always useful as well to listen to the planes and air traffic control around you, of course. You can get a picture for what's going on. Once we land then, the gate will be to the right.
Ryanair 28 Hotel Lisboa Control, 1 set squawk.
And we will look to take it to taxiway Charlie 1
Zona 8 Alpha arrival.
or Romeo Delta, depending on how the landing's gone.
Iberia Express
And we'll
3978 leaving my
expect,
airspace shortly, no
or
further
rather we will
ATC
ask,
available, monitor unit
if we can take Pakistan 314. That's our normal parking spot here at Faro.
Lisboa Control, boa noite, Atlantic 319 at level 370, just past the castles.
New Atlantic 319 Lisboa Control, 1 set squawk 4776, cleared X Zona 8 Alpha arrival, runway 03.
4776, 8 Alpha, runway 03, Atlantic 319.
Speedbird 464 identified. Proceed direct to Venel. Information Bravo is current. Expect ILS approach runway 10.
I think that was blocked then, wasn't it?
Direct Venel, and we'll for runway 10, we'll expect.
MSFS pilot Gimel still wouldn't be on the navigation display if
American 1652 Lisboa control.
in the real aircraft. That would have been cleared off.
Control, American 1652.
American 1652 Lisboa control. Set squawk.
Lendra Russell, thanks very much. Hope we're being of some use to you and your learning.
226, American 1652.
Glad to have you with us for the landing. 55 miles away.
Lisboa, you're going to take crew on that?
Let's get the passengers in the seats then.
708, leave my airspace shortly, no further ATC available, monitor Unicom 122 decimate. Break, your Atlantic 319, pass your message.
We are currently operating a shuttle.
Not sure why they were still on.
If possible, would it be able for us to descend 2,500 feet and make a low pass over the...
That's another thing restricted in the sim. Obviously in the real aircraft you'd be looking around, you'd notice them straight up there above your head that they shouldn't be flicked on and you'd deal with it. But sat here looking at a 2D screen, we miss things like that. Captain UK, I'm glad to hear that.
Say again, could you speak loud and slowly?
Eham, great to see you.
Loud and slowly, okay, here we go. We would like, if possible, to descend 2,500
Get some spoilers out because we need to slow down.
From the Alverke region towards the bridge at 2,500 feet.
You're Atlantic 309, roger. Stand by.
Do I have anti-ISO on MFS pilot? I don't, although it's difficult to see outside. Strangely enough. Ice detector. Let's get that on. I was going to pop it on a little bit lower down when I saw, because there are low clouds over Ferro. I was going to pop it on then, but we've just got the anti-ice warning, which is again a nice feature that fly-by-wire have popped in, so there it is. .44 miles out, coming to 11,000 feet.
Easy 34 Alpha Mike, descend flight level 60.
Descend flight level 60, Easy 34 Alpha Mike.
American 1652 identified, information Bravo is current. Proceed direct Venel, expect ILS approach runway 10.
See direct Venel, runway... What was the runway in use again, sorry?
Runway 10 in use, when ready descend flight level 250.
So we need to set a speed of 220 knots.
Flight level 250, American 1652.
As below flight level 70.
Flight level 100.
Maximum speed is 220 knots.
Flight level 100, Speedbird 464.
Again, that is information from the charts.
Descend flight level 100.
Descend flight level 100, Speedbird 157.
Lisboa, Ryanair 5 Papa X-ray request climb flight level 370.
Ryanair 5 Papa X-ray climb flight level 370.
So now you can see we're in the clouds, having turned on the landing lights. Digital flight deck, yeah. Do you get the feeling that they're waiting for us?
Ryanair 28 Hotel request descent.
Ryanair 28 Hotel descend flight level 250.
Descend flight level 250, Ryanair 28 Hotel.
Ladies and gentlemen from the flight deck, you may have noticed we have begun our descent into our destination.
The Rapper chart certainly helps a lot. You've just got the information there when you need it, rather than having to scrap around. Captain UK, honestly I don't know. I didn't start out with a microphone in some of the very, very early videos, particularly the streams as well, during the daytime. I was always off mic, but I've decided, you know what, I'll come on the mic for the departures and for the arrivals. But for evening flights such as this, I can be on full time because I'm not working throughout the cruise. I'm just entertaining myself with you, which is lovely.
Iberia Express 39788, sent you to Unicom about 10 minutes ago. No further ATC available. Monitor Unicom 122 decimal. Bye bye.
What's your estimate when you hear the call? Rear Express 397 Berlin.
Portugal 1951, wind 350 degrees, 6 knots, runway
Okay, 33 miles away.
03, clear to land.
Let's get that approach phase activated.
Portugal 195.
Speed into manage mode, landing system on. Probably a bit too far away to pick up the ILS at the moment.
Fly heading 260, your
Just check that's in there. 110.5. 110.5. Yeah, that's in there. That's
Your
fine.
Atlantic 319, descend flight level 250.
Descend 250, Kilo Data.
Your Atlantic 319, approved as requested.
So long, butter. Well, you know, it's not going to be any worse than Madeira yesterday.
Easy 34 Alpha Mike, descend 4,000 feet, QNH 1005.
Descend altitude 4,000 with QNH 1005, easy 34 Alpha Mike.
Speedbird 14905, descend flight level 60.
Descend flight level 60, 1495.
So let open descent do its thing now. That's working nicely. We're at green dot speed as well. 28 miles
Speedbird
away.
784, leaving my airspace shortly, no further ATC available. Monitor Unicom 122 decimate, bye-bye.
Ferran, yeah, it's
Unicom 122
it's good. I know you don't finish work till 16 PM. Is Ferran, what time zone are you in, mate?
So control Portugal 05 when you're heading left.
Do you know, last night I could not sleep. Could not sleep. I was this close to getting up out of bed and coming on and doing a flight. ILS information now populated. So the flight plan's all sequenced. The approach phase is already armed. Speed in manage mode. Flight path is good.
Atlantic 319, turn left heading 250.
Speed brakes can now come back off. Landing lights on.
250 Roger, he'll take you down.
Portugal 059, Lisboa control 18, taxi November 2 holding point runway 03 via Golf and Uniform.
See November 2 runway 03 via Golf and Harbor Portugal 059.
Lewis, always use a star for approach if there is one available.
Jet 107 Lisboa control 18, cleared Madeira, Gansu 5 November.
Crystal, the ATC is from Vatsim.
Runway 03, use QNH 1008.
There's a link to the Discord channel. Green dot speed is the best lift to drag ratio.
107, read back correct.
The Rapper, so it's the target speed.
Speedbird 464, report speed.
On your descent until the flap starts to come out.
Speedbird 464, roger, reduce speed 240 knots.
240 knots.
Kareem, I do like it. I think it's a little clunky in places, but it's still very, very good. And it's obviously a work in progress, isn't it?
Skyways 5556, descend flight level 60.
Flight level 60, Skyways 5556.
Easy 34 Alpha Mike, descend 3,000 feet, cleared ILS approach runway 10.
Descend 3,000 feet and clear the ILS approach runway 10. Easy 34 Alpha Mike. Okay,
Ryanair 28
flaps
Hotel, descend flight level 60.
Lewis, you should always use a star if it's available. Of course, in the real world, what will probably happen is that... can we get down, please? Just watching the aircraft doing something it shouldn't be.
Stand by, brake, Speedbird 14905, descend 4,000 feet, QNH 1005.
Sorry, I'm just having to concentrate on the landing at the moment a little bit.
Descend flight level 4,000 feet, 1495.
Easy 34 Alpha Mike, when established, speed 160 knots or greater till 4 DME.
160 knots or greater until 4 DME, easy 34 Alpha Mike.
Easy 28 Hotel, descend flight level 60.
Confirm that was for Ryanair 28 Hotel.
Hey firm, Ryanair 28 Hotel, descend flight level 60.
Yeah, you said easy. Descent flight level 60, Ryanair.
Okay, turn the localizer capture on in a moment, that's it, lock green. So localizer is
Portugal
alive.
1951, welcome to Lisboa, taxi via Uniform Alpha, stand 124. You're Atlantic 319, descend, flight level 60.
60 Atlantic 219.
So crosswind at the minute over from the right, although I'm
107,
expecting that to drop off as we get lower down. There's the ground, obviously, but there's the ground.
Portugal 0590, wind 2, correction, 350 degrees, 6 knots, runway 03, cleared for takeoff.
Cabin crew, please prepare the cabin.
Speedbird 14905, speed 180 knots.
Slow to 180 knots, 1495.
Okay, so we're at the hold altitude now, 3,000 feet. ILS captured. On the approach, glide slope blue, and he wants us above 160 till 4 DME. What's that VAP speed actually? So VAP speed is 126, yeah, so.
Speedbird 14905, confirm EasyJet A320 Neo 3 miles in sight.
Glide slope
Traffic
alive.
in sight, 1495.
Speedbird 1495, roger, descend 3,000 feet, maintain visual separation with the traffic, number 2, cleared ILS approach, runway 10.
Flaps 2.
3,000 feet, maintain separation for ILS, runway 10, 1495.
So we just need to set that manual speed there because he wants 160 knots until at least 4 DME. We're currently 10. Can ding the cabin.
Just for your Atlantic 319, request high speed.
Atlantic 319, high speed approved. Break Portugal 9046, Unicom 122 decimal. Bye bye.
Glide slope captured.
Speed approved Atlantic 319.
Portugal 059 identified, climb flight level 240.
Climb level 240, Portugal 059.
Easy 34 Alpha Mike, wind 060 degrees, 5 knots, runway 10, cleared to land.
Quick land runway 10, easy 34 Alpha Mike. So those winds are a lot lighter on the ground, thankfully.
Speed 220 knots.
Yeah, speed 220 knots.
Radio altimeter alive.
556, descend 4,000 feet, QNH 1005.
4,000 feet and 1005, Skyways 556.
Sorry guys, I know I'm ignoring the chat. I don't have any knowledge regarding the 787.
3,000 feet, Skyways 556.
Lisbon, good day, Ryanair 20 Golf Lima,
so about plus
360
6 miles DME. Airport in sight.
Stand by, break, disregard.
So I'm leaving everything a little bit late here, just with regards to giving him a fast speed on the approach.
Clock 2165, Ryanair 20.
Alright, let's start getting those gear down now as we approach 4 DME. Gear down.
Descended flight level 60,
Flaps 3. Spoilers now armed. And that's 4 mile DME. So let's target VAP speed.
Turn right, heading
Flaps
180,
full.
descend flight level 100.
Down to flight level 100, what was the turn heading?
180, heading south.
Turn 180, down to 100, American 1652.
1,000 feet. And we can take the autopilot off now.
20 Golf Lima identified, flight level 360.
Identified Ryanair 20 Golf Lima, thank you.
Yeah, those winds have calmed down now. They're actually now coming from the left. They were coming from the right a little bit ago. So, it's balanced up nicely.
Station calling for clearance, standby. Rate speedbird 1337, descend flight level 60.
Down to 6,000 for speedbird 137.
Just keeping that steady descent of about 700 feet per minute.
Expect late landing clearance.
Expect late landing clearance 1495.
Stable.
100 above, 300.
Skyways 556, cleared ILS approach runway 10 when established, speed 160 knots or greater
Continue.
until 4 DME.
Roger, cleared the ILS approach to 10 and 160 knots until 4 DME. Skyways 5556.
Speedbird 464, reduce speed 200 knots, descend 4,000 feet, QNH 1005.
Reverses on.
Descending to 4,000, QNH 1005 and 200 on the speed. Speedbird 464.
Reverses off. And ideally we could do the vacating as quickly as possible. So to that end, I'm not going to take the taxiway here, we're going to take the rapid air taxiway, which is just after it.
Atlantic 319, descend
Just
3,000
here.
feet, QNH 1005, correction 1008.
Unfortunately, the temperature is currently a very cold 0 degrees Celsius.
And we're off.
Or 32 Fahrenheit, so if you have a jacket or coat, you might want to put it on.
Speedbird 14905, wind 060 degrees 5 knots, runway 10 clear to land.
Clear to land, runway 10.4995.
Easy 3-4 Alpha Mike is vacated.
460.
Oops. That was a late landing clearance. Easy 3-4 Alpha Mike is vacated. Obviously.
34 for Mike via Delta, stand 462, bye bye.
Via Delta stand 462, 3-4 Alpha Mike. 462 via Delta. Okie dokies. Let's have a quick look. 462.
Atlantic
Well,
319,
that's not
report
far away.
Tagush in sight.
Let's just tidy the aircraft up a little bit. So this is where we need a PM to do all this stuff. Weather radar off. Previous wind shear off. Anti-ice off. See what we're doing. Didn't turn on the runway turn off lights.
Roger, cleared visual approach runway 03.
And strobe lights off as well.
Ryanair 20 Golf Lima, monitor Unicom 122, decimal 8, bye bye.
Unicorn 122, decimal 8, bye bye. Your Ryanair 20 Golf Lima, ciao.
American 1652,
It's alright,
again,
stand
right, heading
462, which is
340.
quite difficult to see at the minute.
Right 340, American 1652.
Speedbird 464, descend 3,000
That
feet,
would be
cleared
why.
ILS approach runway 10.
Down to 3,000, cleared ILS approach.
The custom airports really come into their
Skyways
own at
5556,
night.
wind 060
So you can
degrees,
see a
5
lot
knots,
more.
runway 10 clear to land.
Clear to land, Skyways 5556.
Speedbird 1337, descend 4,000 feet, QNH 1005.
Down to 4,000,
I'm looking
QNH
for a
1005 for
right-hand
speedbird
turn in a
137.
moment. Should have been before the terminal, but in fairness.
Cleared runway and vacated. Speedbird 1495.
Here we go.
Speedbird
So
1495.
I'm hoping this is
welcome to
Delta.
Lisboa via Papa Charlie 2, stand 318, bye bye.
And then we're taking stand 462, which is almost immediately after this right-hand turn.
Via Papa Charlie 2, stand 312, 1495.
Actually, I do think we're in the wrong
Okay,
place.
2 stations at once, break, Jet 107, taxi via Alpha Golf
to be
Uniform,
fair,
November 2, holding point, runway 03.
it's just so difficult to see when you've not actually got
Right, 28 Hotel, descend 4,000 feet,
taxi signs and things like
1008.
that. Maybe I need a new rule. Custom built airports only at night.
American 1652, turn right, heading 030, descend flight level 60.
Turn right 030 down to flight level 60, American 1652.
What's that? Is that A380? A380?
1337, descend 3,000 feet, cleared ILS approach, runway 28, correction 10.
Down at 3,000, cleared ILS runway 10.
Yeah, so fair, I'm in agreement with you there. It's the night lighting is atrocious. But we'll get there. Parking brakes on. And external power is... Oh, apparently external power's on. Fantastic. So we can cut the...
Atlantic 319, Roger,
cut the
climb
engines.
4,000 feet, maintain present heading, break, Ryanair 28 Hotel, turn right heading 040.
To be fair, the Rapper, I don't usually get lost in the custom built airports because they've obviously got better lighting, the taxiways are marked much clearly.
Continue, climb flight level 33.
But the default ones at night are just... hate it.
Portugal 059.
AFA.
Climb 350 Portugal 059.
Let's let the passengers out, shall we?
Cabin crew, please disarm the doors. Thank you.
Okay, ground services. Let's see, can we get the jetway, please?
Ground Airbus Golf, Echo Zulu Golf Sierra, could you please connect the jetway to the aircraft?
Airbus Golf, Echo Zulu Golf Sierra, the jetway is going to be connected.
Yeah, the problem with that, Leonard, is the co-pilot would not take me to the parking stand that the Vatsim controller had told me to because they have no idea of knowing who's what or where. Oh, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck once again, I hope you enjoyed your flight with us today. On behalf of myself, Gavin, the first officer, the cabin crew, and everybody else in the chat room, we wish you a safe and pleasant journey from the airport, and we hope to see you again soon in the Easyjetsimpilot. Thank you for flying with us today, and we look forward to seeing you again.
The Rapper, what's the procedure in real life if a pilot gets lost? Stop what you're doing and ask for progressive taxi instructions. Nothing wrong with doing that, to be fair. I wasn't going to do that tonight just because he's an area controller. He's got a lot of traffic to deal with. He's not just dealing with our airport, he's dealing with most of Lisbon. And realistically, me parking in a different parking stand to what he's asked for isn't going to be a great problem to him. So if I'd have asked him for progressive taxi, he'd have probably just shouted at me and said park anywhere. But otherwise, that's what you should do in real life. So, where's the rest of the gang? Are they all about to arrive? There's one behind me, about to taxi into me. So, that A320 then, A380 then. All the traffic that you can see here is on Vatsim as well, of course, so that will be a real pilot sat in whatever aircraft that actually is. But there we go. Oh, there they are. They're all on the ground. Wonderful. Oh, a nice evening flight, and it looks like we just beat the rain as well. It's raining now. What does our map say? Is it raining on the map? Let's check that out. Oh, it could be, you know. Could be. Let's zoom in. Well, would you look at that? Would you look at that? It's raining in Faro. Fantastic. Scandi 941, you're quite right. Leper is a nice airport. Do you know what? We might fly there tomorrow. We might head there tomorrow from here. Right, let's just look at shutting the aircraft down. We can leave ground power connected, but other than that, I think we can leave that there. Okay, guys, hope you all enjoyed this evening's flight. I did. Great to have air traffic control right at the very end there. Please, before you do disappear, make sure you hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, please also hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you get notified of new content and live streams starting, of course. Thank you to all of you that donate to the channel via super chats and super stickers, and of course via the PayPal link as well. If you want to join us on Discord, the Discord server is in the chat, or you can also find it on the About page as well. Rush, you can hit rewind and see what happened. It was pretty uneventful for the first hour. Then we had a quick runway and approach change, then air traffic control came online, but other than that, not too bad at all. The toughest part for me, and not something that I've had to do too much to reflect on that, was the amount of traffic behind me. So we got to hold 160 knots for DME, and then you've obviously got to slow down things. And I knew I wanted to vacate the runway ASAP because I don't want to send people that are behind me around. Technically, it shouldn't be your responsibility. It's the air traffic control's responsibility to keep the separation there. But just to play fair, I guess. No one wants to go around at this time of night. That's one less beer before bed. Alright guys, Captain UK, that's called Flights, that's from Fly Live Studio. Thank you very much guys, I hope you have a great Friday tomorrow. No live stream during the day tomorrow, but we will be back tomorrow night around 800 Zulu hours. So I look forward to seeing you then, when we shall, I don't know what we're doing tomorrow. We may be doing a test flight for fly-by-wire, or we could be just continuing with our EasyJet routines. Thank you very much guys, I shall see you all very soon. Good night.